Good morning, everyone. It is August 16. I have a thing that every August, usually it's about the 5th or the 6th, I'm looking outside, all of a sudden I go, fall is here. And I think it's the way the light goes through the trees or hits the trees, the position of the sun or whatever. But fall is here. And in typical fall fashion, it's going to be 100 degrees. So today is the State of the Union, meaning what is going on, what is coming up. You people have been beyond patient with me. And I'm also going to do a little jump start on the silk ties. So I want to show you a funny thing. I always try and start with something just kind of dopey while we start off. Okay, so I got to move this down. Okay, so yesterday was haircut day, hair dye day. Oh my gosh, my roots are covered. And I was in there at Lindsay's. She's the best if you need anybody in the area at Classic Images. She's also one of my daughter's treasured friends. Anyways, while I was there, Lennox came in with her mom, and we call her Aunt Lindsay. That's how the kids identify each other's family. It's Aunt Adair and Aunt Lindsay. So Aunt Lindsay, for back to school, did something really, really nice for Lennox. And she was so excited. She couldn't stand it. She got mermaid extensions. And I've always wondered, oh, that's me in the back taking a picture because my hair is all tied up in knots with dye. I when she was walking over to the sink to get her hair washed, her smile was greater than the Cheshire cat, and she wanted mermaid colors. So I got to see, I think I just said that, I got to see how extensions are put in. And it's kind of fascinating because I never really understood how they tied together and things like that. Basically, you take 10 strands of hair, and then there's a needle thing, and then you put the extension on the needle thing, and the extension has like a circular thing at the top, and then you get shoved all the way up to the base hairline, and then it gets snapped shut with pliers. So it was really, really cool to see that. So came home, and Baba said, "Well, this is ridiculous. If everybody's getting a new haircut, it's time for me to have one." So this is Baba's new look. What do you think? What do you think? So I, I have some weird stuff to share with you before we get into a little bit of content. And part of today with the State of the Union is, okay, I am coming back, and how are we doing it, and what are we doing, and yada yada. But I found this on Facebook, and her name is Kathy. I about had a cowette over it. I thought it was just exquisite. That's in her stairwell. And I'm sitting there knowing that silk ties are on the horizon. Thought, boy, would these shapes be interesting in silk? Because you've got the big broken dishes, and then you've got the smaller fine geese, etc. Now, in no way am I saying to copy her, because that's against my religion. But if you look here to this one, let me see if I can show you. This was my first and only silk tie quilt. And basically I just worked with squares and half square triangles. And I depended on the stripes of the ties to really give it its action. Okay. So Kathy, thank you for putting it on Facebook. You got my eye. Okay, now I'm going to show you something else. I don't think I've shown you this. Um, no, I don't think I have. And if I have, I'm sorry. I love boats. And I actually have some pictures after of this to show you with some sales from other countries. They're basically are patchwork. But here is my boat quilt to go over William's crib. And my girlfriend Lois Johnson was here, and she needed to do a boat quilt for her grandkid. And I said, I've got it. I said, let me go get the quilt from Adair and I'll draft it out. I'll figure it out. And as I am looking at this, I'm going, oh no, where's Waldo? Massive mistake. Massive. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. By the way, it was quilted by Angela Walters and she did a bang up job. Okay, can you guys see the Where's Waldo on this? Oh, also, this was made from all my fabric, not all, but all of the fabric in it were from my fabric lines. Okay, I'll tell you. On the right-hand side, the boat goes all the way to the inner border. On the left-hand side, there's a floater strip. I can't, yeah, Roxanne, you got it. I never saw that when it was hanging in his room. I never did. So, oh my gosh. I still love that quilt. Maybe one day, if I pattern it, and I probably never will, we'll just Photoshop it or something and call it a day. All right. So Jenny Bowker, she's done a show with us. A very, very interesting woman. On her Facebook, yeah, I don't think it was Instagram. On her Facebook, I saw this and I just kind of went crazy. And it carries into my love of boats. Take a look at these sails. Waste not, want not. One of the comments under the hat was, well, that looks like another sail right there. But just beautiful, okay? Neutrals. I mean, these are just lovely. Okay. You know, right now, everybody's being so, I mean, this is obviously because they don't have things, so they've compromised and put everything together. But would you not just smile if you saw that near your or on your local lake? Here's another one. This one is extraordinary to me. Absolutely extraordinary. And then I realized she got them from this gal's Facebook page. Okay. And I put it down as Rit, but I believe her name, yeah, if you want to find it, go under Rit, Ritmaes. I mean, just amazing. Just absolutely amazing. Okay. Before we get to business, a couple more things. Hillary I shared this last Monday that Hillary made these pin cushions from Dee's class. And I hate to be the one to tell you, Christmas is around the corner. So you might want to start working on something like this, okay? And then the rice bags, all right? And where do you find these free classes? You find them under Learn. No, actually, I would go to YouTube, to thequiltshow.com, and then find Dee's place, Dee's classroom. But I made one of these rice bags. I think they're fabulous. The first one is kind of like, okay, you have to kind of figure it out. But then once you get it, okay, did I just show this one? Look at this with her indigos. These are Kaz's. These are Kaz. What did I say before? Oh, well. And then Josie made her, oh, by the way, we don't have these kits anymore, but Kaz made all of these out of our kit and then, of course, threw in some of her own fabric. So that's how she extended the kit so lovely. Okay. And then Josie made hers into a knitting bag. And it's just simply a matter of making the squares bigger, okay? And then what is this with Betsy? All right. Let me see. Okay, this is super cool. This is Betsy Brown's quilt, and it's called Still Life with Phil's Ties, which ties us in ties, haha, us into everything. And okay, this is beyond super awesome cool. The DeYoung is having a show in, I'll give you the dates in a minute, but this fall, early winter, on Bay Area artists, and her quilt got in. I mean, that is so huge. At first, when I read it, I thought it was all quilts, but no, it's all forms of media, which a quilt should be in there, or two or three. And where this is this is at the De Young, okay, in San Francisco. It will be September 30th through January 7th. And apparently on Saturday, if you're a Bay Area resident, it is free. So that's pretty cool. Okay, State of the Union. This is what's happening. I would say, unless I break a leg, don't talk dirty. So we are going to taping this weekend. So it's bye-bye after today, but you've been so utterly patient and all that. It makes me very happy. Then when I come back, it's my retreat. And well, that came up kind of high. Retreat. And that will start, basically, it's supposed to be a weekend, but it starts now the Monday before, and that happens to be Labor Day. And Susan Cleveland's going to be our guest this year. And so after that, I think I'm going to be kind of really pooped, because that's the casualty of what I've been having to deal with, is just being exhausted. But then we're going to start on our ties. What, it's only a year late? Only a year. So because prepping the ties takes so much time, and I'm going to repeat this, so sorry when you come back to the first class, but this might give you something to do. Um, I I chose to prepare my ties this way. I've looked on YouTube. I've looked everywhere. My friend Robin did it very meticulously with a very um, kind and soft wash. I said, I don't have that kind of patience. So what I did, and I'm telling you what I did, and yes, things can happen, okay? Before I started deconstructing them, and we'll talk about that down the road. Now it's just the laundry ladies talking. I bought these on Amazon, lingerie bags, right? And what I did was I put them in there. They had not yet been deconstructed, all right? I put them in there, not tightly. And what I would suggest you do is, when you do a dark load of laundry, do a dark load of ties. If you're doing, something like, I wouldn't put red in with any white underwear that you have. So, I mean, I would be aware that these can run, all right? And then I washed it with Tide, and then I threw in a color catcher thing. I would say only 4 or 5 didn't quite make the cut, and I'll show you one that didn't, but I think I can still use it. So if it's, I think I just saw grandma, you have grandpa's ties or something, you might want to be a little more, don't throw caution to the wind like I did, but that's how I did it. And for the most part, they came out beautiful. They came out clean. And then here's one that didn't come out so beautiful. It's got some running on it. I'll work around it. I hadn't, because see, this was still in it, the lining. So I think that might have run, but then worse than that, there were some where spots just didn't come out, but I wouldn't throw it away, because this is a really great color and I can certainly cut around it, all right? So just think about getting your ties clean, all right? This one, I decided to deconstruct this one before I washed it, and this is what happened. It's fine. It just needs to be pressed, all right? I mean, it's kind of like, it reminds me of washing when you get, like, quarter yard cuts and how they get all crazy. That's kind of what happened here, but it'll work, all right? And then we will we will deconstruct them a little bit down the road. This will keep you busy for a while, because I wouldn't mix hot tie colors with not hot tie. I would be careful, all right? And I don't want you mad at me if any of your ties get goofy, because it's just how I did it. But I had so many ties gifted to me, I didn't have time to do what Robin did. And the other thing, like if you look at this quilt behind me, I also have in there just some plain silk Dupioni, I think. So that might be something you want to look for too. I'm going to be doing my project out of blues and pinks. That's what I'm going to be doing. And when we do our tie project, it's going to be like the cave mystery quilt. I don't know what you're doing, and I'm not sure what I'm doing, but we're going to do it together. Yes, John. Do you wash poly and silk differently? No, I wouldn't. Mm-mm, mm-mm. And I would be careful with poly, and I'll tell you why. That was off the top of the head, and that's a great question. Poly can really shrink on you. I can remember using polyester in a quilt, and literally the block sizes change. So unless it's like a cause, because that's all that Grandpa wore, um, you're into another level of something. Okay. So in the meantime, I was going to tell everybody to just grab your book and let's go. Let's use this and get going. It's going to be like the cave mystery quilt, right? Where we don't know what we're doing. But then I stumbled across this, and well, let me show you the video. This is brand new with C&T. Let me show you the video of how to use them. Hi, everybody. I'm Alex Anderson, and I wanted to share with you a really cool new tool that I found for piecing. Okay, in the olden days, when you wanted to piece a quilt, you would have to, and it made of blocks, you would have to draft out the block. You would have to figure out well, you have to make templates. That's how far I go back. Then later on, you had to figure out the magic numbers, like when to add a half an inch, when to add 7/8, when to add 1 1/4. And you just figured it out. And it wasn't hard to do. It's what we did. And we worked on 1/8 grid drafting paper, graph paper. Okay, so books started coming out then because people saw the opportunity of saying, okay, well, look at this block. If you want it in this size, this is what you cut it at. And you did honestly believe a lot of education was lost along the way there. But here we are today. We know there's a bunch of really cool places that you can go to get the cutting numbers you need, etc. Especially in patterns and books. Well, speaking of books, you probably know how much I love this little book that C&T came out with. In fact, so much I wrote a blurb on the back. And the first thing was, I wish I had invented it. Seriously. What's so cool about this book is that there are 110 quilt blocks, but each quilt block is presented in 5 different sizes. So, okay, I want to make a 3-inch, then I know what to cut. I want to make a 6-inch, etc. So recently, C&T has come out with a new product that I was kind of questioning. I thought, okay, so I got myself a box of this, and I called Amy, who is the publisher at C&T, and I said, okay, so what makes this so special when I can probably find the blocks in here? And this is what she told me. These particular block tools come with one side, it has the block, and then the other size, it has the cutting numbers. All right. So what's so great about that? It's super great. And I found myself totally intrigued with the whole thing. So I started, let's take these out and we'll come back to this in a little bit. Pulling out all these different blocks that are in this block tool. These are 4-inch finished. But let's say I turn this over, and I can do it in 6-inch, 8-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch, and 36-inch, all right? And what's so cool is because it's on a gray scale on this side, I can start putting them together and seeing what I think they look like, all right? They're all on the same mathematical grid. But this one I don't like very much because, first of all, this is too busy and things only line up here. So I don't know. I don't like this combination. Although this is, I believe, called Road to California, and it's a block that I love. What did they call it? A Road to Heaven. Is that California these days? I don't know. So let's put this here. Now, this is kind of intriguing to me because everything is exactly lining up. Let's try it this way. Yep, same thing. Here's this. I don't like these together. This is too busy and this is too plain. So I just started playing with it. It's kind of interesting, but maybe not. And it's interesting what would strike my fancy and what doesn't. let me show you what struck my fancy. I pulled these two cards out and I went, oh my gosh, look at the secondary design that's happening here. I would not have thought that had I just looked at these blocks as individual units, right? So the next thing I did was I went to my copy machine and I made a bunch of copies. So I want to see what it's like when it's more than just the two put together. All right, so here we have those two. And now I'm going to turn it around. And I can see this huge grid starting to happen. I also see these centers that are exactly the same center. So let me, oh, sorry about that. Settle down. Okay, here's this. All right. Let me bring this up a little bit. I bumped it when I was originally talking to you, so it kind of messed everything up. All right. I could see some real interesting things going on here. You've got the darks right here. I like how when these things intersect, they aren't quite dark, but they're certainly darker than this, right? And then my next thought was, what if I turn it like this and I do it on point? Well, I don't think I like that very much because you get this kind of really strong horizontal and then vertical. I don't think I like it. I don't know. I've got to play with it. But with these cards, you have the ability to go through and select different blocks and see how they all play together. So let's see what we've got here. I don't know why that one's so dark. Anyways, oh wait. One of the things I would be looking at probably are the proportions within the block. And this has a nice proportion, in my humble opinion. Let's see. There were a bunch of star blocks I started putting together too. I don't think I like that. Here's a star block. I mean, this is, you could just have endless fun with this. Imagine if you were at your quilt guild and you gave people like 3 or 4 blocks and you say, have at it. Okay. I love how these line up right here. Okay, so yes, the cutting instruction is also in this book, but you don't have the ability to butt them up next to each other. Also, in this book, they don't necessarily all have blocks that are compatible. In this particular box, they are all compatible. Okay, this is set 1, which Amy suggested we all start with, and there's a number 2 that will all be compatible within that block, in that particular box. I believe it's a 4-patch that's coming out, and then there's number 3. I'm not sure what that one is, but above and beyond all of that, they get. Boy, I've made a mess here. We don't do that, do we, when we quilt? There's some other really cool things in here. So let's go back down to this camera. Okay. They have little trivia cards, I guess you could call them, that will help save the day. I'm going to bring this down so we can get it a little bit closer. All right. And within these trivia cards, you have different things. So for instance, here we have side and corner triangles for diagonal settings. If it's a 6-inch pieced block finished, the side triangles will be 9 3/4, of course, cut like this, side triangles. And then for half square, and then for the corners, there we go. And then for the corners, this is what you cut, and then you go corner to corner. And again, the sizes are 6, 8, 10, 12, 36. This also tells you, if you put it on point, what the measurements are across. So you don't have to go measure and hope you get it right. This shows you how to use the block chart, but if you're familiar with this, you'll know how to do it, all right? Oh, then this is my page. So this is when weirdo shapes don't line up, and that happens over and over and over in piecing. You don't just say close enough and call it a day. And then how to sew half square triangles, yardage for backing, finishing widths for binding, or just it's a treasure trove of information. Figuring out yardage, more yardage, rectangles on this side, squares on this side. Then they threw this in, and I'm like going, okay, yeah. And then one, I went, oh, yeah, baby. So this is combining two different blocks, right? All right. Mega block baby quilt layout. Okay, this is 36 by 36. Yeah, you could do a baby quilt out of this. And then here's another one. Okay, where every other block, pretty standard for a sampler. All right. Then this one I thought was really cute, the heart quilt. And all they're trying to do is to get you thinking, okay, here is a color bar layout. They have all the cutting numbers there. But I got to tell you something, when I saw this one, I almost started weeping because I thought it was so wonderful. Here are all these different sampler blocks. And then it has this, it's called bookend layout. I'd never heard of that before. And then it has this diagonal area through here. And as many of you know, I'm going to be endeavoring on a silk tie quilt. And I'm thinking that this is what I'm going to do. I don't know that I'm necessarily going to follow exactly these blocks. But then, okay, with a tie, it doesn't have that sort of yardage that would support those rectangles, right? So I'll do something else in that area, and I can easily do it because everything's divisible and everything goes together. I was thinking 4 patches. I was thinking pinwheels. I mean, I don't know. I've got to get it on my design wall and see. But anyways, I believe this is about 16 or 17 bucks. I'm going to say it. And I don't have the price on it. I'm sorry. And I just think it's a lot of fun. And as you endeavor to a new project and want to play and try different things, this comes with a thumbs up from me. Okay, so I was wrong about the price. It's actually less than that. And right now at TQS, we have them on sale. Okay. So we just are carrying box number 1 for now. And because that's what Amy said. And I think it's super cool. And it's funny because my girlfriend came over to look at one of the demos I'm going to be doing when we're taping, and her eyes just shot over to the tool set, and she got in there and started playing with the whole thing. So that is super fun. The other thing that I would strongly recommend that you purchase is the fabric prep, all right? Because the ties are cut on bias, and we don't really know, if you get a square out, is it going to be on the bias? Is it going to be on this? Is it going to be on that? Fabric prep is a super uber sheer stuff. Look what the cat did. Yeah, it'll still work. It's a super sheer, stretchable, wonderful liner that you can back your pieces with. I will tell you this. Robin had the great ideas. Once you deconstruct, you could kind of line the ties like this one this way, and then that with this one this way, and then put the fabric prep on it. I'm going to do it more as I need because this is a really super great product, but if I were to line every single tie I have, it would just be too much. So it's fabric prep, Quilter Select fabric prep. I would check that out too in the store. Okay, so what else was I going to tell you? All right. I don't know. None of you have that problem. None of you. Oh, this is important. That whole Maui thing, the address I gave you of the quilt store, it came corrected today. So I'm sure because there's only one quilt shop in Maui, I think it will get there. But this is what it is. So you might want to grab a pencil and or come back to this if you don't have a pencil and refix it. I mean, if Avenue was wrong, I know it's going to get there. The zip is what's throwing me a little bit, but they are seeking quilts to give these people who have nothing, absolutely nothing. And as I suggested last time, if you are going to, send them some things, I would put on the outside of it the size so that they don't have to measure it, because maybe somebody needs a baby quilt and you don't want to hand them a, big quilt. And I would also send in a love letter so that people know that they are being prayed on and prayed for. I saw something that broke my heart on the news this morning, and it was or maybe it was on CNN, I don't know, but it was that they feel like nobody cares. Oh, people, we care. We care greatly. I know for myself, I'm just kind of staggered on where do you even start with this, and I'm not even there, right? Okay, so I'm going to be taping. I'm very excited. You know, Ricky and I haven't been together for a year. First, he had COVID, then I had my situation, which I'm doing so well. And then we're together. I can't believe it. And then I come back, and again, it's my retreat. And then I don't know how pooped I'm going to be, but I want to get going. I really miss you guys. I appreciate you guys. I know, I appreciate this group we have here more than you know. You got me through a lot, a lot. All right, so I think we're okay. Um, yeah, I think we're okay. Okay, so Kristen's going to be a taping, so we will be doing pop-ups and things like that. So don't go too far. We're not leaving you. Okay, have a great, great day. And when I get done here, I'm going to go meet with our producer and with Ricky, and I'm going to find out exactly what we're bringing you detail by detail. Very excited. Thequiltshow.com. And remember, it's like, I don't know, 49 bucks, and you have access to everything. It's a bargain beyond measure. Yeah, it is. See you later. Bye bye.